Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by Maller Grodner Plummer Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Maller Grodner Plummer Attorneys, understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis, on the web at lawngp.com. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnership with communities and organizations. rural.indiana.edu. Smithville, fiber internet, security solutions, and voice in southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Bunger and Robertson, attorneys at law since 1949, utilizing experience, knowledge, and resources to help individuals and families recover in personal injury matters. Information at lawbr.com. And by WTIU members. Thank you.
Coming up on Indiana Newsdesk. Christian nationalism has been on the rise across the country recently, including in state houses and the federal government.
More and more Republican primaries are producing legislators who feel that the idea of separation of church and state is exaggerated.
It's a belief that the laws of the U.S. should reflect a specific expression of Christianity. China has been the biggest foreign buyer of U.S. soybeans, but as a result of President Trump's trade war, they've halted all orders for the crop.
Farmers are kind of at the mercy of weather and politicians that don't even know how to run a combine.
The administration has been weighing a $10 billion bailout for soybean farmers. And lawyers are now involved in the controversy surrounding the IU Media School and student media. We'll have these stories and more right now on Indiana Newsdesk. Welcome to Indiana Newsdesk. I'm Joe Wren. Well, since the assassination of Charlie Kirk, the level of Christian nationalist rhetoric in our state and federal government has skyrocketed. But what does that mean for our pluralistic society? Clayton Baumgarth has been working on a multi-part project about Christian nationalism in Indiana and what its presence means for all Hoosiers. He has this report.
On September 10, 2025, a political assassination sent a shockwave through the American right.
On that terrible day, September 10th, 2025, our greatest evangelist for American liberty became immortal. He's a martyr now for American freedom.
When Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk was murdered, his memorial service wasn't just a funeral. It was a public declaration of a religious war.
The day that Charlie died, the angels wept, but those tears have been turned into fire in our hearts. And that fire burns with a righteous fury that our enemies cannot comprehend or understand.
The language of martyrdom, of spiritual battle, points directly to a political ideology bubbling up from state houses to the national stage: Christian nationalism. This is the belief that the United States and its laws and government should reflect a specific expression of Christianity. This past Indiana legislative session, State Representative Joanna King introduced House Resolution 53, asking lawmakers to humbly submit to the Lord Jesus Christ.
It seems that as each election cycle goes by, more and more Republican primaries are producing legislators who feel that the idea of separation of church and state is exaggerated, and that in fact, legislators have a responsibility to use the power of government to reinforce biblical principles.
The resolution was not adopted, but more than 20% of House members co-signed it. Also keeping the movement at the forefront is Indiana's second-in-command, Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith, a proud Christian nationalist.
We're actually just saying we submit to the highest of all authority when we're governing. Doesn't mean we have to worship Jesus. Doesn't mean that we have to go to church on Sundays. It just means recognize his authority as being the ultimate authority, and let's make sure our laws are in line with the constitutional authority, which is then in line with God's authority.
He says that the nation should base its morals on Christian values.
I don't want the collective determining moral truth. I don't want Micah Beckwith to determining moral truth. I don't want Donald Trump determining it. I don't want Nancy Pelosi determining it. I don't think any one of us are good enough to determine what truly is good and right.
The core of this movement is called dominion theology, the belief that Christians are mandated to exercise power over all aspects of society. It even has a mobilization strategy called the Seven Mountain Mandate, which targets 7 spheres, including government, education, and media, to be brought under Christian control.
Actually taking back everything in the world that has been robbed from human beings, robbed by sin, robbed by Satan, the devil, and so on.
Indiana has a history with the intersection of religion and politics. In 2015, then Governor Mike Pence signed the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, or RFRA, into law. It caused national headlines for how it would effectively allow businesses to discriminate against the LGBTQ+ community.
Michael Pence, the governor, a deep Christian, a man who again and again said that his Christian faith came first. Not his faith in the Constitution, not his faith in American values, not his faith in democracy, but his faith in his God, his God.
Madison says that not only is Christian nationalism controversial for anyone who isn't Christian, the backlash to RFRA showed it's bad for business.
You want to attract the best and the brightest people to Indiana to work at Eli Lilly Company? They're not going to come to a state that has this kind of law on the books. Young people just aren't going to put up with this.
Many faith leaders are speaking out. Pastor David Green says he's reminded of his upbringing in Cave City, Kentucky, near the KKK.
When I hear these things coming out of our state house, for me it's alarming because it almost takes me back to that. The only thing is we swap robes for nice suits.
His and many other faith leaders' fear is that this movement is distorting the true ideals of Christianity.
We have to be careful that we don't take the flag and just wrap it around the cross and create a lot of confusion between what is true religion and quote unquote Christianity looks like.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Clayton Baumgarth.
Now we're joined now by Bob Zaltzberg, the special projects editor at WTIU, who worked with Clayton on this series. Clayton's a little busy. He's got a 1-day-year-old baby.
Right. I'm happy to be pinch hitting for him,
Thanks
Joe.
for being here, Bob.
Thanks for having me.
What was
here.
behind the decision to do a project on Christian nationalism?
So since Micah Beckwith was elected to be lieutenant governor, I mean, he says he's a Christian nationalist. In the eventual failure of House Resolution 53 earlier this year, some of the newsroom staff members led by Clayton proposed a longer form piece on Christian nationalism. In Indiana, questions we wanted to answer involved defining Christian nationalism, seeing how present it was in Indiana, and what are the implications. The Poynter Institute, which supports meaningful journalism, provided some funding, and the result is this 4-part web and podcast series.
So, Bob, what are some of your big takeaways after looking at this?
Well, I have to channel Clayton here. I think the biggest takeaway was the label Christian nationalist is its own little controversy. People across the board have a different idea of what that means. For some, like Beckwith, they'll say, well, I love being Christian and I love my country, so sure, I'm a Christian nationalist. But scholars like Andrew Whitehead at IU Indianapolis offer a much more pointed definition.
It is the desire to see a very particular expression of Christianity privileged in the public sphere and fused with American civic life. And it wants to see the government at all levels vigorously defend this particular expression of Christianity as central to national identity and social belonging.
The label being thrown about is kind of on a spectrum. While Beckwith's view seems tame, Whitehead's definition scares some people, including some Christians. We talked to one pastor in Ellettsville who is somewhere in the middle. For example, though he agrees with the idea that the country should have a more Christian moral center, he favors a non-governmental path to get there.
I'd be happy to see everybody converted and become a Christian, but I don't think that can happen by using the state to do that, or the government, but it's by preaching the gospel and changing people's hearts.
So how does Indiana compare to other states as far as Christian nationalism?
There are a lot of similarities. According to Whitehead, about 10 to 12% of Americans strongly embrace the idea that America should elevate this expression of Christianity, and another 20 to 25% are at least sympathetic to it. So in Indiana, about 33% of Hoosiers either embrace that idea or are sympathetic to it. That one-third supportive view is right on track with the national numbers, but it's below many of the southern states.
Thanks, Bob, so much for coming in to talk about this. For a deeper dive into Christian nationalism, check out Red, White, and Righteous, a new investigative project from our newsroom. It's at ipm.org/righteous or wherever you get your podcasts. The Indiana Daily Student is still making headlines. The student newspaper's editors have retained lawyers to push back against what they say is censorship by the university. And as Aubrey Wright reports, the IU Media School is forming a task force to address the issues with student media.
Last week, the IU Media School fired its director of student media and eliminated production of special editions of the Indiana Daily Student, its only remaining print product. That led to a national outcry over what the students and others called censorship by the university. IU called the elimination of the print product a business decision and the firing of Jim Rodenbush a personnel matter. It says it has not interfered with editorial content, but has a duty to oversee the IDS after the university forgave $1 million of debt it had accrued.
We do, however, have an obligation to ensure the financial sustainability of student media while honoring their editorial independence.
The editors of the IDS disagree and have lawyered up. Christopher Condiff from the Reporters Committee for Freedom of the Press says matters related to the IDS's editorial independence have been on his radar since this summer.
We had been in contact prior to this, but the last 2 weeks, it's been more at the forefront because so much has happened.
Condiff and the IDS editors are requesting a meeting with university leaders. IU Media School Dean David Tolchinsky announced Wednesday the school was launching a task force in the coming weeks aimed at protecting editorial independence and financial stability of student media. He says it will include faculty, staff, students, and alumni. One media school professor says the task force could offer some outside perspective, but questions whether it will address past challenges.
I think it's well-intentioned, let me put it that way. But I think it's too little too late. It's sort of like watching your house burn down and then think, gee, maybe I should call the fire department.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Aubrey Wright.
Fargo says that despite recent challenges, students at the IDS continue to produce award-winning work and maintain a strong online presence. Well, we're joined now by Shelby Brown for more headlines from around the state. Hi, Shelby.
Hi, Joe. Thanks. The city of Bloomington is looking for public input on proposed changes to its major north-south transportation corridor. One proposal leaves College and Walnut Streets one-way, while the other would make them each two-way. Open houses are scheduled at City Hall next Tuesday and Thursday to view and learn about the designs. Bloomington City Council members are requesting county officials not purchase the site for the proposed Justice Center. A letter drafted by a council member cites the location of the jail outside city limits with no plans for public transportation. The proposed site is off State Road 46 near I-69.
They would have to go all the way out to North Park to book people in, and then all the way back to wherever it is that they're stationed in terms of the region that they're patrolling.
The Monroe County Council will consider the $8 million request to purchase the property next week. And former Indiana Governor Mitch Daniels says in the Washington Post that Hoosier lawmakers should not use redistricting to stay in power. Current Governor Mike Braun and President Trump's administration have been pushing for new lines ahead of the 2026 midterm elections. The Indiana Black Legislative Caucus says Hoosier voters of color would be most disenfranchised by gerrymandered districts.
And when that power is manipulated, it's communities of color, they will pay the price in representation, in resources, and in respect.
State Senate Republican leaders say they don't currently have the votes needed to pursue redistricting. And representatives for Google released a statement Wednesday confirming the company as the developer behind a planned data center near Monrovia. Morgan County commissioners had refused to say who the developer was because they had signed non-disclosure agreements. Despite resident protests, Morgan County commissioners approved 390 acres of land to be rezoned for the data center in February, and then another 158 acres this month. An Indiana University Police Department is investigating a hazing incident near IU's chapter Phi Kappa Psi fraternity. IUPD received a report that at least 2 people were hospitalized from injuries in a hazing incident last week. The fraternity was placed on cease and desist effective immediately. All chapter activities are suspended until further notice. And conservative media personality Tucker Carlson spoke to a full house at the IU auditorium Tuesday night at an event hosted by Turning Point USA. The event was originally set to feature right-wing political activist Charlie Kirk, who was shot and killed last month on a university campus in Utah. Carlson was asked about how to keep the MAGA movement united after Kirk's passing.
I think a lot of us are more, including me, are more divisive or hot-headed than we need to be. Charlie had a lot of emotional self-control, which he was 20 years younger than me, and I admired that openly.
And Governor Mike Braun also addressed the crowd, telling college students specifically to speak out on conservatism and make Kirk proud.
All right, thanks so much, Shelby. Coming up next on Indiana Newsdesk. Indiana soybean farmers are feeling the brunt of President Trump's trade war with China. And a herd of bison in northwest Indiana is instrumental in turning farmland back to a native prairie. These stories and more right here on Indiana Newsdesk.
Hello, I'm Todd Gould, Senior Producer Director at WTIU. I've personally devoted nearly 40 years of my life producing PBS arts and documentary films about important stories from Indiana. The arts, history, and people that make Hoosiers great. Despite government cutbacks, we will never stop telling Indiana stories, your stories. Please donate now to keep this station strong. Become a sustaining monthly member at WTIU.org.
Welcome back to Indiana Newsdesk. President Donald Trump's trade war is hurting Indiana soybean farmers who rely on China for a significant chunk of their sales. As Ethan Sandwise reports, this year's damage could lead to long-term woes.
You can't get much further from China than Jason Maxwell's farm in Morgan County, Indiana. Maxwell grows soybeans and corn about 50-50. He built a house here for his son, who's the 5th generation to work this land.
It should be kind of flattering that farmers be in the middle of geopolitical, economic, dealings in the world. And it also shows the importance of our product.
Maxwell is 3/4 of the way through the harvest, and China isn't buying. It's the world's largest soy buyer, importing more than 3/5 of the global supply. But because of retaliatory tariffs, U.S. soybeans face a 20% higher duty than other exporters. That's driving prices way down.
At night, when you're sitting there in the quietness and you start thinking about, do you have enough money for your input for the next year?
Now at our harvest, we should be exporting to China because lower prices, we should be more competitive in the global markets. But China has not purchased anything from us to date.
Trump planned to bail out American farmers with $13 billion in tariff revenue, not just for soybeans, but other exports as well. That will help in the short run, but farmers have next year to worry about.
I would rather them take that and either pay down the debt or try to help farmers with more products to be made out of corn and soy.
The government shutdown delayed those checks. It also stopped the USDA bean counter's weekly reports on crop yields. Traders and importers are essentially flying blind.
So you have to rely on just anecdotal information that you get from trade media.
The shutdown isn't the only reason timing is bad.
This is looking like the 3rd consecutive year of losses. And so any sort of aid that is provided is more of a a temporary Band-Aid to help get us into the next year.
In the short term, tariffs could drive down soybean prices and force farmers to operate at a loss. In the long run, they could damage farmers' relationships with Chinese buyers. China also buys heavily from Brazil and Argentina, whose output has skyrocketed in the 7 years since Trump's last trade war.
It's not like China can necessarily get all their soybeans from Brazil, but they could get a very large share of their soybeans from Brazil, because Brazil now has over 40% market share in world soybeans.
Soybean farmers were irked when Trump announced a $20 billion bailout of the government of Argentina, which had just announced a temporary suspension on its soybean export tax. He doubled that to $40 billion last Thursday. Chinese importers aren't only establishing new relationships with South America. They say America is no longer seen as a dependable trading partner. Many Indiana farmers have confidence Trump's trade policies will benefit them in the long run, but the industry is pressuring him to lower tariffs in time to save this year's crop.
It's just the suffering right now with us. It's something we probably should have done a long time ago, and we didn't, and the world got to where it is now, and we're trying to play catch up.
The American Soybean Association sent Trump a letter in August urging him to reach a deal with China. The American Farm Bureau met with Trump's trade representative Jameson Greer in Washington, D.C. on the 8th to discuss their concerns. The president said on his social media platform Truth Social in October, quote, "It will all be fine with China," but threatened a 155% tariff on Chinese goods last Monday. Some farmers are hedging their bets, planting corn rather than soybeans, but that's no guarantee for profit either. Americans have grown more corn than any year since 1936, flooding the market.
It's not only the soybean prices are not doing very well. The corn prices are relatively low, and so it's really, and that's probably also impacted wheat prices.
But when the beans get cheap enough, someone will buy. Soybeans can be converted to vegetable oil, animal feed, and biodiesel fuel. By the end of the harvest, Maxwell will be selling to Bunge Global at whatever price the company is willing to pay.
If the economy's bad for the farm, it's bad at home. And there's nothing, you can't work any harder, there's nothing you can do about it. Farmers are kind of at the mercy of weather and politicians that don't even know how to run a combine.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Ethan Sandweiss.
China imported $12.8 billion worth of soybeans from the U.S. in 2024. It stopped purchasing American soybeans in September. Indiana University isn't the only one bringing back a bison. One IU alumna has been working for over 20 years to preserve a bison herd in northwest Indiana. Isabella Vesperini has more on what it takes to grow such a bison herd.
Elisa Nyberg, who graduated from the IU O'Neill School of Public Affairs, is now the preserve coordinator at Kankakee Sands. She started at the prairie over 20 years ago when it was still an agricultural landscape with corn and soybeans. She has been working ever since converting it to a prairie.
That means picking an awful lot of seeds and sowing those seeds on the land. And then after vegetating the area, you need to take good care of it. So that's coming in to manage the invasive plants.
Nyberg brought in the first 23 bison in 2016 from South Dakota and has slowly brought in more over the last 9 years. Now, over 100 bison graze about 1,000 of the 8,400 acres that make up Kankakee Sands.
Bison are a keystone species of the prairie, so their actions affect so many other species. They can really help to keep a prairie system healthy and thriving.
Bison encourage plant diversity, helping birds, reptiles, and insects to flourish.
We have a lot of really tall, robust grasses that if they're able to just grow without something to kind of keep them in check, they could take over and maybe, push out some of our other native plant species.
When managing the bison, Scouten takes a hands-off approach, giving them access to food, water, and space to roam.
A lot of it is watching them and just keeping an eye out, and if we see something that we maybe need to help them out with, we'll talk with the vet about that. But for the most part, if they have space, the ability to socialize with each other, they are really healthy and resilient.
Nyberg said she finds it important to restore prairies and get people out into nature. Prairies used to cover about 15% of the state. Now, that's down to 1%.
It just feels so good to be outside, to be able to witness, the beauty of nature and to see the positive impact that people can have. in a place.
Nyberg and Schouten are excited about the bison's return as IU's mascot and hope the increased attention to the animal will bring more people out to the prairie.
It really does, I think, just go to show, more people are realizing and remembering that bison are part of Indiana's natural history. They are part of the school's history. They're part of the state's history. And so just seeing that in different places being brought back here is really cool.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Isabella Vesperini.
The second-ranked Indiana Hoosiers are looking to go 8-0 for the second straight season when it hosts UCLA on Saturday. The Bruins come into the game with a 3-4 record, but have turned their season around after firing head coach Deshaun Foster last month, winning their last 3 games. Saturday's game kicks off at noon on Fox. And that's the end of this program. Have a great weekend.
Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by Maller Grotner Plummer Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Maller Grotner Plummer Attorneys, understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis, on the web at lawngp.com. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnership with communities and organizations. rural.indiana.edu. Smithville, fiber internet, security solutions, and voice in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Bunger and Robertson, attorneys at law since 1949, utilizing experience, knowledge, and resources to help individuals and families recover in personal injury matters. Information at lawbr.com. And by WTIU members. Thank you.